Turning and turning. Hello. You got me dancing. Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Warrior Commission live. It is the Warrior Commission now. I will get it in a minute, but it's our live stream. And we are in the process of a series of conversations. I'm Christine Caston.
I'm Sharon Rudolph.
And we are
live.
And this is live, and so it's real. No edits. So we have our warm drinks, and we are just continuing to talk about a series of topics within the idea of what it is to live in the commission that we have in our lives, our personal commission. And Jesus said that all these things I have are yours. Everything that he has authority over, he has given us. And some of our journey is to learn how to walk in that and live that out. So we're exploring a series of topics that help us talk about how we actually do that and what it is to live in that place. So today's focus, or this moment's focus, is the key to unity. And we feel like there really is one specific key to unity. And there are some other elements that we're going to talk about in that process. But Sharon, would you like to start us off with kind of exploring this topic and what it is that leads us to the key to unity?
Unity is a really big topic, and it very much ties into relationship with other people. Mm-hmm. I've been married 33 years. And some of those years we've been in unity, and some of those years not so much. And so,
a little opportunity there to step into more.
Yes, God likes to create space and bring adjustments. I think being willing to embrace restoration when it's necessary is huge. Yeah. Because we all have relationships with people that are really valuable to us and they're life-giving to us. But the world's not perfect. And sometimes those relationships are
Spoiler.
Yeah. Oh, well. And so I'm being intentional about the restoration of the relationship to maintain the unity is huge. Because unity isn't based upon agreeing on everything or liking the same stuff.
Or conformity.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. It's about choosing to maintain that unity and making the person and the relationship more important than all those external things.
Yes, absolutely. And, and I think that is a key component. A lot of times as humans, our natural tendency is to self-protect and to step into a place where we want what we want, and survival and all these kinds of things that move us into that. That may be because of wounding that we've experienced in the past. It may be because of experiences we've had. Times that we've gotten, we like to say gotten burned in different situations. And so our natural tendency is to say, I'm not going to let that happen again. So I'm going to keep others at a distance, kind of that Heisman thing, I'm going to keep others at a distance because I don't want them to hurt me. So what happens is you create a self-fulfilling prophecy of distance and independence that does not bring us into unity. But I think one of the things that we've talked about is the idea of loving well. So would you mind addressing maybe what it looks like to love well?
I believe that with loving well, you have to extend grace. You have to give the other person space. It's the whole walk a mile in the other person's shoes and try to understand their perspective and where they come from. Mm-hmm. With my marriage as the example, my husband grew up in a different family than I grew up in. And in the family I grew up in, we had certain values that were really important. And then my husband's over here and his family had certain values that were really important. And when we came together, it took time for us to get to the place where we kept what worked for us and we let go of what we didn't need anymore. And we've been able to do the reconciliation part, the restoration part, but to love well, I had to walk in his shoes. I had to understand his perspective. I needed to be willing to look through his eyes at the circumstance, and then all the light bulbs go off.
Yeah.
Which makes the restoration and reconciliation pieces possible.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the same.
Right. Because there was a willingness.
Yes.
There was a willingness to say, let's figure this out. Let's right. understand, I'm not going to try to, one of the things that I thought was really brilliant on the Training Days event that we just had, on one of the evenings, we had a speaker who came in, John Paul Sprecher, and he's with SCAPC, and he was talking about Father's love, and he was talking about not getting into the process of God's fathering to someone else, like not trying to be, insert yourself into that process, because there's something that God's doing in that process. And yet there's also the fathering that's going on in your own life as well, where God is moving and he's shifting and using that tension that you may feel in whether it's a husband and wife relationship or other relationships, to really take us into some new places, to break some things off, maybe bring us into some healing, maybe bring us into more maturity in what we're doing. And in the process of doing that, it's amazing because in that time you choose to love well. You choose to prefer one to another. You choose to take that step that says, I know that there's tension right here, but I believe there's hope for tomorrow. And we're going to be able to find that hope for tomorrow because we have committed to seeing the relationship as a priority in our lives, rather than what our own wants or needs or protection are about. So, so tell me when you talk about extending grace, because that's a hard thing to do sometimes when people are people and they are, acting up a little bit. So let's talk about that. Let's kind of explore that a little bit together.
So I've heard different definitions of grace. One definition is unmerited favor. Mm-hmm. So you give something to someone that they don't deserve. Mm-hmm. You choose to look past what's going on and you give them what they don't get what they deserve. They get something that's better than that. But another definition of grace that I believe is more accurate is grace has to do with empowering presence. Mm-hmm. It has to do with the power of God in our life that enables us to live beyond what it means to be mere human. Mm-hmm. As believers in Jesus, we have the option to be superhuman. Mm-hmm. And that's where the power to love comes in. And so when someone is not understanding us, they may not even be behaving badly, but they don't get our point. And so
I'm sorry, I laugh because, in the journey with God, just saying yes to Jesus can take us into that place with the world. Yeah. So, but anyway, please go ahead.
The other person doesn't get your point, and being able to be patient and let Father God love them. Mm-hmm. Will I be patient and let God parent, mm-hmm. and let God love, and let God bring us to a place of unity? And we may not totally agree on the point. I'm going to root for Texas A&M, and
I'm not.
Right. And there are other people who are not, but we can be best friends and we can be in unity, and I can celebrate when your team wins and you can celebrate.
Go Bears.
When my team wins, and yet we can still be in unity because God is the empowering force, the grace that makes it possible for us to live outside of being merely human.
Yes. And I think another key to unity is obviously putting God first, because he's the unifying factor in our lives. So with God as first love, it's going to, if we're both viewing it from that perspective, he will bring us together. And I think the other thing that's interesting is in my life, I've seen that when I've said yes to God, people may perceive, they may have chosen a perception that was, you're either for us or you're against us. Which is it? For or against? And the reality is I'm not for or against. I'm yes to God. And so sometimes I think part of unity is really trying to, like you said, put yourself in the other person's shoes and understanding what is their yes to God? What does that look like? And what is that requiring of them? Because that's a sacrifice. Our yes to God is a sacrifice. And especially if we're in a situation or a series of situations where that perception exists of the for or against, our yes to God may actually be a distancing from that relationship because it's not healthy, because it's not empowering, it's not encouraging, it's not something that lifts each other up, because that's what Jesus says we're supposed to do. We're supposed to place courage in and prefer one to another. And so there are times when that kind of a stance creates a disunity. And so my encouragement to everyone is to consider what other people's yes to God looks like.
Right.
And what that requires of them. Because if you understand that, or if you even try to understand that, you're already opening a door into restoration and connection.
Yes, and ongoing unity.
Mm-hmm.
And in that question is, what is your yes to God?
Mm-hmm.
I have to own my yes to God.
When you stand before him at the end of the age.
I have to own my yes to God.
Yes.
To be able to have compassion towards the others, yes to God. And that's that bringing in the Holy Spirit piece. This is about our unity and oneness and alignment with God and his kingdom is an empowering piece in our unity here. So we've got vertical unity and we've got horizontal unity, and they work together well. They do work together well.
They do. And, and I think, and all these things that we've been talking about in the past few minutes, really it boils down to one word, and that one word is a word that we use a lot in the Warrior Commission. Yes, it's a word that we feel is a part of what it is to have a warrior mindset, to live in your commission now. And the idea of it is intentionality, or being having an intention toward. It's a choice to persevere and to step into and to maintain a focus on something that's there. And so to me, what we've talked about, the key to unity, if you will, when we obviously, the key to unity first is first love and keeping God as first priority. But something that comes just under that is the intention and the intentionality toward finding that place of unity, and those things of loving well and extending grace and restoration all come in that process. So we are wrapping this session up now. They go so fast. We could again talk for hours on this and just keep going, but we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. We just encourage you to live in your Warrior Commission now, and we look forward to more conversations down the road. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.